Welcome everybody, Joshua here to go over my reflection of my Adobe Flash project, Marvel Worlds Collide. Like I said in my other reflection for my last animation, this is not a tutorial on how to do anything. This is just my key aspects that I use that you may use in animations, or if you want to see how I did certain parts and just reflect on the work overall in progress. So as you can see here, we are on a Flash animated timeline. Standard stuff, you have your library with multiple sprites that I've already cut out individually with Flash and the keyframes of the timeline. The key element that I wanted to do in this animation was ant up, just step it up a lot, step it up to the next level, make things a lot more difficult, and just try to make the animation better overall in process. And the greatest thing I did with that, with the animation itself, is I made more movement available with the characters itself, and I added more characters within. Now with Flash, when you add more characters here with the tabs down below, you more or less, you have a lot of stuff to remember what's going on and how it's placed, and make sure that everything moves accordingly within its environment. And moving that everything within its environment is just can be really difficult with all these frames, and just keeping everything in order and not getting something confused or placing something in more or less the wrong layer, which did happen to me many times and brought along confusion. But of course I found out the problem and would just fix it. Another key aspect I added to animating is giving more movement within the characters, within it being a jump. So basically with a jump, I would add in more motion tweens within him of moving if he was to be coming through the air. And for when he was attacking people, I would add more movement visually itself. So I'd move the character literally from side to side, just giving it more of an aspect of impact, and along with the camera shakes, which I did do in my past animation. Another element that I wanted to ant up the ante with my animation is adding more different types of backgrounds and how I'm going to use them. For my last animation, a lot of the backgrounds I used were more or less 2D, and not these aren't either, but they're more upscaled with an area that gives an idea of 3D, and with that I can add a lot more movement within the characters, let's say from bouncing around or just going from placement to placement. Now another tricky thing that I pulled off in this Flash animation that I really want to perfect, knowing that being me that I love the character, is Spider-Man's swinging ability, which is seen a lot within the animation. And doing that, I learned from studying the visuals from movies, like reference footage. And as you can see a clip here of The Amazing Spider-Man 2 of how he just swings from building to building, and just learning the real life aspects of how the gravity works. Of course, I can't do every aspect of that within an animation in Flash, but just more or less the gravity weight from how he'd go from one point to the next. So if we're getting from here, dropping down and going to here, and just learning how gravity would work in the best of my ability. And I say I actually pulled it off really well, especially with him flipping and stuff and just gaining momentum and swinging. And that was a bit time consuming, but once I found out the pattern and I picked it all up and put it all together, and overall I got a really good visual of him swinging, and it looks really good. And I'm very proud of myself for it. One of the biggest things I learned the biggest thing that I learned from this project is giving life into your character. You can't just have people think these are all just sprites and still images that just sit there and you place. You have to give life within the character itself with its movement, and I learned that a lot by practicing before making the animation and just messing around with how would I give this guy more character and like movement, and how would I more or less bring him to life within the screen and within the imagination of the story that I wanted to do. Now moving on from Flash, here is my iMovie timeline of where I did all the sound effects and maybe cuts if I had to reshape something or to make everything fit well and better. Here's the timeline of all the sound effects. There's a lot going down there. The biggest thing that I've learned with using the sound effects is compositing music and sound elements within the visual itself to give it more of like a movie feel, that everything's well and balanced, and using soundtracks from the movies of Deadpool and other soundtracks within the fight sounds. It just worked out very well. So especially when the Spider-Man would appear in the frame here, which was done in Flash, but just with the sound effects overall, layering them. One good tip, if you want some good sounding sound effects to go along with your movie or animation, just practice with many different ones and layer them together, and just get the best fitting sound one to your ear and play it over and over. And even the best thing to do is to play it and to like maybe look away from the screen or even close your eyes. And if you were to hear that, and it would just sound right. Now, one of the greatest things that happened within this animation that I'm very proud of, that I'm going to touch upon, is the slow motion scene here. In Flash, I more or less animated everything slow, but I went into iMovie and then slowed down the clip itself and changed the color and added a good sound effect to just make it like everything drown out, and then I cut it away, and then all the zooming and stuff was done within Flash. So my overall reflection process, I learned a lot, and I stepped it up a lot from my last animation, I believe. Um, Animating wise, and all the characters' movement, I think flowed really well. And if you're just stumbling upon this video, and go check out the annotation to my animation, and then on my other animation, there'll be annotation back to this video if you want to keep going back and forth and just seeing how I did certain things. Hope you guys enjoyed this little bit of reflection, and yeah, thanks for watching.